One of the things that I want to, make clear, as we've been saying from the beginning, it's really important to understand the only difference from me and you, if you see a difference in terms of knowing or embodying or expressing, is that I'm doing the work every single day. I wake up, I put on my Spanx the same way as all of you, one leg at a time, and I do my work, and I have my stuff. I touched on it briefly, but in my previous marriage, it was very, very difficult for a lot of years, raising kids and growing a business and transforming myself and trying to be the man I wanted to be and be the father and the husband I wanted to be. And it was a workshop at PhD level. I suffered a lot and eventually did my work, took more responsibility until eventually I was increasingly clear, untriggerable, and loving my partner even more. And yet there was no real change happening on the outside. And eventually I had to make the most difficult decision of my life. I had to make the decision to leave that marriage, to leave really the entire life I'd built. 20-some years of marriage, children, homes, the financial structures, and literally risk everything. And I worked so hard to avoid that. And I worked so hard to do all the work to know if I did step out, I was rock solid. Like I talk about the bridge, the Indiana Jones bridge, where you can't see, you have to step out on it. And I built it so strong inside of me that there was a bridge. And then I finally stepped out on it. In fact, actually, there was a moment where I knew I had to separate. The business hadn't really taken off and all that. And I had to really figure out, can I even afford to get another home? I mean, I was, prayer without ceasing is the mantra of a change maker. And I said, show me a sign. I found out how much it would cost. And I said, show me a sign, undeniable sign. I went to the mailbox. A couple days later, there was an unexpected check to the dollar of what I needed to actually honor my truth and step out and do a trial. And I looked at that and I looked up and I looked at it again. I said, can you give me another sign? And then I just kind of brushed it on the rug, went back, some more suffering, more pain, did the work. Eventually I had to make that tough decision, risk looking like the home wrecker, the bad man, all of these things, my reputation potentially in this community. Like, ooh, how could you get divorced? You're so spiritual. What did you do wrong? What is your thinking? And, like Rika talked about, with the cancer. And I had to face that shadow. I had to do that work. I had to come clean. I stepped out on that bridge and Spirit was like, psych, no bridge. And I proceeded to fall and go into a very dark night where I did lose my family for a while, where I did lose my whole financial stability for a while, where I did lose my home that I had built and grown and raised a family in. I lost everything pretty much for a while, and then even my body started to break down. And I didn't know if I was gonna wake up the next day. And some days I prayed that I wouldn't. And I can still feel the emotion. It was really hard. It was hard to stand in my truth and stand in my integrity. If I just destroyed my life trying to stand for the truth, God damn it. Why are you putting me through this, God, life? This is too fucking hard. And then I had to learn that I can't hold it all together, that I need others to hold it together. And I began to reach out a lot. And I began to form and watch this community form around me of many of the people you've met, many of these coaches. And I learned to be humble, and I learned to be vulnerable, and I learned to pray without ceasing. And I read the books again and again. I put myself through my own teachings again and again. I attended my own lectures over and over. And I did the work. I dug deep. I laid deep roots, and still nothing, or so it seemed. And yet what began to happen is I began to find peace again and strength in community and support, strength in my inner container, a knowing, a seeing, a beyond belief. Belief is a placeholder. I had a knowing. I even had a moment of stepping out of my body and looking at Derek and from the other side and going, whether he's on this side or the other, we're good. I knew that I was life itself. I knew that I was love itself. I knew that I was powerful beyond any condition, not just because I read a book or attended a class, but because I did the work every single day. I had my coach, my healing practitioner, my community, my mastermind. I had it all. And I needed it all. I needed all that help because I couldn't go to the next level on my own anymore. I had taken it as far as I could take it. Can anybody relate to that?
Yeah.
And it's, again, we have to take responsibility. We have to be sovereign and strong on our own, but that's just the beginning. And so I want you to understand that what you see up here as what appears to be pulling knowledge and nuggets out of the air, and it comes through me so clearly and eloquently, that came because I was sitting in the seats like you. I'm still sitting in the seat like you. I'm still a student. I still practice every single day. I do the work. I do the shadow work. I do the prayer, the affirmation, the visualization. I sit with my coach. I sit with my group, my community. I ask for help. I get support. I surround myself with people that are as fierce of a stand for my freedom and fulfillment and for living my life's work as I am for theirs. You all beginning to feel that here in this group too? Like what it feels like to have people that are a fierce stand for you? I just want you to understand, I really want to make sure that even though the stage is elevated from you, I'm not. I'm here with you, and I'm doing the work every day. I woke up this morning, the other night when I didn't sleep, and I literally didn't sleep. I wasn't making a joke. I didn't sleep a wink. I didn't sleep at all last night. Last night I did, but I was just praying all night long. I was just doing the work, and it was like, okay, this is happening. My worst fears come to pass. I'm gonna be completely a zombie. I'm gonna have nothing. I'm gonna get up on stage and stare at you all and go, I got nothing. And I said, all right, life, all right, God, this is your idea anyways. I said, send me, you sent me. Here I am, use me. Come on, life, bring it. Because this body doesn't have it. And it was like I stepped on stage, it was like whoosh. That's the product of doing the work that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, we've been talking about this, doing the work, being in the containers of truth. We're going to take some time here to explore our capacity to be truth tellers and our capacity to tell the truth to ourselves, to tell the truth to others, because you can't be a thought leader, a truth teller, a truth teacher if you're not telling at least yourself the truth on a daily basis, and then ultimately everyone in your life. That doesn't mean you're walking around just vomiting all over people. It means what's implicit becomes explicit, and that what's invisible becomes visible, tangible, and audible, so that now it's in the container. It first has to be in your container. You have to know what's going on with you. You have to know what you're saying to yourself, what you need and want to say to others. You need to know that. And then now you can have that energy to choose how to direct it. And then in partnership, you need to be in agreement, whether it's a best friend or it's a parent or it's somebody, where you're going to also share what's explicit, or at least know what's explicit in that container. Because if not, if it remains implicit, it will create blockages and stagnation and aberrated expression. Remember, the life force and the truth force that is in you that is unexpressed is not benign. It metastasizes. When you don't tell the truth and live the truth, you don't get off scot-free. That energy becomes aberrations, it becomes dis-ease, it becomes depression, anger. It blocks your channels of abundance, your channels of creativity, your channels of joy. When you become a commitment to being a truth teller and a liver of the truth no matter what, in service of love, you begin the process of freeing yourself up, opening all the channels so life can flow through you as inspiration and wisdom and healing and wealth and health in your body and in your body of affairs. And then you can stand up here and speak extemporaneously, because I didn't just memorize a script and 6 days or whatever the rest of the days, I was just sitting by a pool drinking Mai Tais and watching Netflix. I'm thinking about this and talking about this and living and praying about this all day long. So there's no difference between me on the stage here and me behind the scenes. Does that make sense? Or at least to the most part. Doesn't mean, again, I'm sharing everything with you, because some of it is discernment, but there's not an internal schism. I know what I know and I know what I feel, and I'm sharing it. So there's the three containers: the personal, the partnership, and the community. So the questions that you're basically asking is, what is being said that I'm not hearing? Because to hear it, to really hear it, would threaten our status quo, our sense of safety, and force us to grow. But the broadcast of truth is always going on, and when we're open, we begin to hear it and receive it. So what is being said that I'm not hearing? What am I saying that isn't being heard? So there's always something within us trying to come out. The truth, our radio station is broadcasting, right? But as it moves through the filters of fear and separation, it either doesn't come out or it comes out clipped, aggressive, passive-aggressive, controlling, sarcastic, ambiguous, etc. You all know what I'm talking about? So that we don't have to fully own it. We don't have to fully say it and then have the experience of changing. And so instead of saying clearly what we need or what we want or what we fear, we turn it around, we turn it upside down, we project it onto others, we throw it away with a joke, a whisper, or some other reaction. And so therefore, it's not fully heard or heard at all. And then we get to hold on to the story, I'm not heard. I don't feel heard. Why aren't you heard? Because you're either not saying what needs to be said, or you're saying it in a way to actually prevent it being heard. So do you get that fundamentally, it's your responsibility to be heard? Oh, it got very quiet. Very quiet. Oh no, wait, what? No, you can't take away the fact that I believe it's others that aren't hearing me and they need to hear me, goddammit. No, it's not their responsibility to hear you. What does that make you if that's the case? A victim. Did Gandhi walk around, Martin Luther King Jr. walk around going, why won't they listen to me? Nobody's listening. No, they spoke in a way that was clear and explicit, no matter the cost. So you're not feeling heard, and I'm saying this without judgment, is on you. Who's here willing, at least starting today and now, to take responsibility for being heard? That's a big one, right? And believe me, I had to learn that the hard way. From years of not speaking up in my previous marriage and making all the reasons why. Well, she'll just get mad at me again. She'll just yell at me again. It'll just create conflict. My kids will be upset. It's not worth it. Anybody? You know, my team, my previous team. Oh, they'll just get upset. They'll think I'm an asshole. I'm a jerky boss. They'll all leave me and abandon me. It's not worth it. I don't have time for it. It's too costly. It's too dangerous. I'll just get by. And then when I finally began to practice, my worst fear did come about in that way. They freaked out. They melted down and they abandoned me. And I was like, shit, I knew that was going to happen. But I knew that it was true. And as I stood in that truth, what formed around me as I was explicit in my truth were individuals that were living at that level. And individuals that met me and shared those values. The only way to up-level your life, personally or professionally, in any area, no matter what, is you up-leveling yourself. Is you speaking more of your truth, is you owning more of your truth, is you bringing more of who you really are. That's the only way progress and evolution will happen in any area of your life. Period. There is no other way. There's no savior coming to get you. There's nobody that's going to save you. Look in the mirror, you'll see your own salvation. It's you. That doesn't mean there aren't teachers and people that can help you see yourself better and help you connect, and that you don't need support and community and all of that. You do, for all the reasons we're saying, because we can't see it and we can't hold it all together. But the point of all of it is to bring you back home to yourself and to empower you to bring more of yourself out. So what am I saying that isn't being heard? What do I need to say that I'm not saying? What do I need to do that I'm not doing? So asking into the unexpressed actions is another way to tap into the truth that wants to emerge. Sometimes an even more powerful approach. Faith without works is dead. And when we proclaim our truth, but we don't act on it, we are still lying to ourselves and the world. Wait, you mean it's not enough to just say my truth? I have to actually act upon it? Come on, man. You guys willing to act on the truth you know? There's a saying that God suffers a stillbirth when we do not act upon the good that we know. What do I need to stop doing that I keep doing? This question allows us to see the actions that we're taking and notice where we're using action to hide behind. We often stay busy to prevent us from being still and silent long enough to hear and feel the truth. We check off the to-do list to avoid the things we really need to do to create real progress. We tell ourselves we just keep serving and giving and giving and giving in our relationship, because if we stop, slow down, and get in touch, what we'll really be like is, I don't want to give another fucking thing to you. It's my turn. I want to give to me. But if we really stop and slow down and aren't doing everything for everybody, we'll have to feel the pain of all the ways we've stepped over ourselves. Anybody? And as we do these practices, we actually create the space now to see all of this unexpressed parts of us and begin to express it, move through the eye of the needle, and open up the flow again in our life. The purpose of this process, this is not about doing some deep therapy right now, although it can be very cathartic. It's still all in service, ultimately, of your life code and your life's work. We're doing this in these containers so you can begin to see, as you answer these questions, what are the truths I'm not saying, that I don't want to be heard, or that I'm not listening to, so that I can see how those are connected, right? It's all connected. It's all one complete package, right? So those core wounds, I'm not safe, I'm powerless, I can't trust, those core wounds and the issues in our life that have created the workshop we're living, we'll see that the truths we're not speaking to ourselves and to others, the things we're not doing, or the things we need to stop, have a direct correlation to that. That's the way those things show up, and it shows us where we're not fully expressing, but it also shows us why we're not doing it. Why am I not telling this truth here? What's the truth I'm not telling? Because guess who else has a very similar bag of truths that they're not telling to themselves or others? Your ideal audience, your ideal clients. They have the similar transformational path. So as you get honest and clear where you haven't been telling the truth to yourself or others and the reasons why, do you think that might be a valuable understanding to give others that have a similar path? Anybody? Incredible, right? And as you clean it up, and the ways you clean it up, that's curriculum, that's content, that's a workshop, that's a talk, that's a moment of healing for a client. I understand what you went through. I understand you being afraid to tell your partner that, this is what you need and want. I had the same thing. And this is what it caused me. And until I finally did. And then this is what it got me. So let's jump into that. So I'm going to read these. Bless you. Some people will do anything for a blessing. Just take a breath. Allow your energy to drop down into your heart. Another breath, and just feel it dropping down from your head, down through your neck, into your heart, into your body. As we step into the container of yourself, your relationship to yourself, to the divine, what is being said within me that I'm not hearing? And just feel free to write. Be brave, be willing to see what you haven't been willing to see, to feel what you haven't been willing to feel, to know what you are afraid to know. What is being said within me that I'm not hearing? Take a deep breath and give yourself permission to finally be honest with yourselves. You deserve it. If anybody deserves to be honest with, isn't it you with yourself? It's okay. There's no shame. You deserve to know the truth, to tell yourself the truth, to hear the truth. What is being said within me that I'm not hearing? Or another way, what am I saying within myself that I'm not willing to hear? That little whisper, that little cry, please, will you just take better care of me? Please, will you just have this hard conversation I can't handle this anymore. It's too painful. Will you just tell them the truth? Tell them what you're afraid of. Tell them what you need. Those cries within you that you've shut down or covered up or made wrong. I really need this. I want this. I'm afraid they're going to reject me and judge me, but that's what I'm really saying. Please, will you listen to me? Maybe you're afraid others won't hear you, but can't you please, at least you hear me? What is being said within me that I'm not hearing? What am I saying within myself that I'm not willing to hear, or at least I haven't been? Those cries, those whimpers, those whispers, maybe even those raging parts of you. What do I need to say to myself that I'm not saying? What do I need to say to myself? Sometimes we have to say hard things to ourselves out of love, out of a fierce stand for ourselves, like a best friend might. You're addicted. I love you, so I'm going to tell you. You're making a story up, but you are addicted here. Or you are making yourself too busy. You need to stop. You're giving away too much of yourself. You need to stop. You need to take care of yourself. You need to take this step that you keep saying you'll take. No more excuses. I'm your best friend. I will not let you make any more excuses. It's hurting you too much. I know you're afraid, but you need to do it. You need to make that call. You need to take that action. You need to take that step, take that stand. Be brave. Be 100% honest with yourself. Because if you're not, you can't expect anyone else to be. If you're not being honest with yourself, you're the one that abandoned you. You're the one that betrayed you. You're the one that lies to you and cheats you and steals from you and rejects you. Nobody else can do that to you unless you do that to yourself first. You are only lied to and cheated on and abandoned and rejected ultimately because somewhere along the way, you were lying and cheating and abandoning and rejecting and repressing and discounting yourself, your truth, because you knew it. You saw the red flag. You had the need, but you didn't tell the truth to yourself and admit it and then do something about it. There's no judgment here. There's freedom. No more abandoning yourself. No more lying and cheating yourself. No more rejecting yourself. No more. That ends today. No more. At the very least, you will tell yourself the whole truth and nothing but the truth. What's the truth within you haven't been willing to hear? All of life is on your side. Today, you're getting on your own side now. What do I need to do that I'm not doing? That class I know that I want to take, that exercise I know that I want to start, that conversation I know that I need to have, that project I know that I need to start or complete, that support that I need to reach out for, that thing that I'm afraid to do because there's a risk, or seemingly there's a cost of time, talent, treasure. What do I need to do for myself that I'm not doing? There may be all kinds of good rationalizations, and when you rationalize, you're just telling yourself rational lies, because it doesn't matter what the excuse is. If you know you want it and need it, If you were your best friend, you'd find a way. There is no legitimate excuse for not telling the truth and living your truth. There's challenge, there's an area to grow, it's scary, but the only way you will progress and prevent stagnation and dis-ease in any area of your life is if you honor your truth, live your truth, say yes to your yes, in service of love and the greatest life, no matter the cost. So therefore, there is no good excuse. There's no good excuse to stop evolution and progress. And it only happens when you tell the truth. First to yourself, and then act upon it. What do I need to stop doing that I keep doing? Telling myself no when I really mean yes. Stepping over my feelings, stepping over my truth to make others feel comfortable or to not rock the boat. What do I need to stop doing that I keep doing? What do I need to stop doing to myself that I keep doing? Attacking myself, beating myself up, judging myself. And then specifically, what are you? How are you attacking, judging? What's the judgment? So take a breath. And we're going to move on to the next container, because these are just different ways to discover the same essential themes from different dimensions. As we look into the partnership container, this can be a spouse, a life partner, a best friend, a parent, a business partner. That other individual that is the most significant other to you. That's the individual you do the most shadow dancing with, where you're experiencing your projection more than you are in absolute relationship with who they really are. And that happens in any intimate relationship eventually. And as you let that individual come to mind, give yourself again, at least in this moment, 100% permission to tell the truth. You'll still have a right after, whether you share it with anybody else. But right now, tell yourself the truth. In this partnership, what is being said that I'm not hearing? Listen, because you've heard it on some level. What is being said in this partnership that I'm not hearing? Breathe, release, open, listen. It's safe to know the truth. It might at first scare you, anger you, and seemingly annihilate you, but it will set you free. What am I saying in this partnership that isn't being heard? And as you touch upon that, you can even ask the question, why am I not saying it? How am I saying it so that it's not heard? So what is being said in this partnership I'm not hearing? What am I saying in this partnership that isn't being heard? And it might be something you've said, like, I want to spend more time with you. And then you let it alone. You're like, see, they're not spending more time with me. But you didn't say it again. You didn't sit them down. You didn't take 100% responsibility for the result you want. All relationships are 200%, not 50-50. You have to take 100% responsibility for the result you want. So what am I saying in this partnership that isn't being heard? Is often where you're saying it meekly, or you say it once or twice or every so often, and then you say, now it's their turn. They have to meet me. No, you have to meet you, and you have to bring it. until it's either clear that it's not gonna happen, but you're fully in your power and in your truth, or eventually it does. All results are 100% up to you. Whether it's telling your truth, asking for something you need, ultimately, you have to ask to receive. You have to seek to find. You have to knock for the door to open. Take a breath and just release any tension. Continuing to open and just reflect again over, is there anything else in my personal container that I'm not hearing, that I'm not saying to myself, that I'm not listening to? Or is there anything else that I'm not saying or hearing or doing in my partnership? Just open up and just scan your heart and your mind and see where else may anything be hiding that I just didn't want to look at, that I'm afraid to admit. I'm afraid somebody will see it or read it or hear it, that my partner will find out, or that somebody else will find out and they'll know that I'm a fraud, that I'm a fake, that I'm a failure, that I'm out of integrity, that whatever. And now we move to the community container. There's a couple ways you can work on this. You can definitely do it around your family dynamic. You can do it around the dynamic of your company if you have one, or the dynamic of a community if you're part of one, intimately, an intimate community. You can do this if you're part of an organization. And you can also do this within the specific domain of the world that you're most passionate about or part of, like the LGBT community, the Me Too or women's rights community, the men's rights community, whatever is the area, the financial community, the health industry, the health and wellness community, the self-help community, wherever you may want to be shining and showing up and being a leader in or a part of. You can use this because it will give you some very specific information around that. And if you're able to be open to more than one, you can be thinking about your family and you can be thinking about that particular other community container as you answer these questions. What is being said that I'm not hearing? Listen, trust what comes up. And what am I saying in this container that isn't being heard? What am I saying in my family or in this particular organization or movement that isn't being heard? That party that might be screaming out, crying out, whispering, whimpering. What am I saying in this container that isn't being heard? What do I need to say in this container that I'm not saying? This is where we get to some of the truths or truth that you're meant to bring to this container. You've been waiting for someone else to change. You may be afraid of the disruption it might create, but there's a truth in you that wants to be spoken, that wants to be lived. What do I need to say in this container of my family or my organization or this movement I'm a part of that I'm not saying? You've shouted at the radio or a podcast, or you've been listening to somebody speak in that environment and you've wanted to speak up and you didn't. You've been seeing it or feeling it for a long time and maybe even pushed it so far down you've forgotten. But it hasn't gone away. The energy is there, wreaking havoc. You see something that's going wrong and nobody's saying it, nobody's speaking about it. The friend or the family member that's addicted or sick or hurting themselves or the family, but nobody's speaking about it. That aspect of this particular movement or whatever you're part of, that nobody's saying it, nobody's speaking to it. They're too afraid or unconscious or just part of the problem. But you see it. If you see something, you have to have the courage to say something or do something. In your own private container, you can always use the energies and the emotions and the things, sensation in your body, and ask those parts, what's the truth that's trying to be spoken here? What's the truth that I need to hear? If you could give voice, what would it say? And those energetic patterns showing up as emotions or sensations or pain, discomfort, they'll have a voice and they'll have something to say. That's part of knowing the truth in your container. Your ability to listen is getting stronger with every moment. The neural pathways are being created to allow you to be able to hear more clearly. You're safe. You're safe to listen and to hear. You have more choice now, more free will than you did before you started this, because you have more expanded awareness. This is the beginning of freedom. This is the beginning of evolution and progress for you and for your work in the world and for your whole life.